Let us first look at the variables that are present in this data set. So we run a simple proc contents on the data set in order to understand the kind of variables that are present. So there are 31 variables in all. Here we see some of the variables. One thing you'll notice is that all of these variables are numeric. You can look at the column type to see whether a variable is numeric or character. This is the second set of variables. You can again see most of these are numeric. There is one character variable, exclude underscore ind, which is some kind of an indicator, which is a character variable. The rest are all numeric variables. So these are all the variables that are present in the data set. Now in order to understand what these variables mean, we have to go to the data dictionary. A data dictionary is a simple document that usually comes with all data sets. The data dictionary contains the definition of each variable. The data dictionary contains the definition of each variable and the corresponding calculation. So here, for example, we see the first variable DLY underscore 80, which stands for daily average ticket. The definition is the average amount per sales transaction for the work of date. So this is the average amount per sales transaction that happens for each merchant. The calculation for this is the daily gross sales amount divided by the number of transactions that happen every day. So it's the average sales amount for each transaction. This variable can be useful for us because a fraudulent transaction in general may have a higher amount of transaction value than the average sales transaction. The second variable that we see here is DLY underscore C card underscore AMT PCT, which stands for daily corporate card sales amount ratio. This is the total amount of daily corporate card sales compared with the total amount of gross sales. So this variable is basically telling us what percentage of the total sales come from corporate cards. In case fraud is associated with a corporate card, we may be able to identify it using this variable. So this variable is telling us what percentage of the total sales come from corporate cards. The next variable, daily corporate card transaction count, is essentially giving us similar information, the number of sales transactions on corporate cards on a daily basis. So this is just a simple count. The next variable that we have is the daily chargeback average ticket. This is the average amount per chargeback. A chargeback is a return transaction resulting from lack of adherence to certain conditions and results in the debiting of the merchant's account. A chargeback is a return transaction. So this is where the money has to go back to the customer, so it has to be debited from the merchant's account. So the daily chargeback average ticket could also be an indicator for fraud. So these are the definitions of the first four variables as per the data dictionary, as well as the calculations for these variables. Similarly, we have to look at each and every variable. We have 31 variables in this. We have to look at all 31 variables, understand their definition as well as how they are calculated in order to get a sense of the information that we are dealing with. In the financial services world, there are often a lot of transformations that we can do with the variables that are there. There are numerous transformations that we can do with a single variable. For example, on this slide, we see the variable chargeback. A chargeback is a return transaction, and that happens when certain conditions have been violated, and this results in the debiting of the merchant's account. So a chargeback is a transaction which has been returned, and now the money has to be given back to the customer. So the money has to be debited by the merchant's bank or the acquiring bank from the merchant's account. So for this variable, we can see a number of transformations here. The first one is daily chargeback amount, which is just the sum of daily chargeback amounts. The second variable is the average amount per chargeback. So we take the sum of daily chargeback amounts and divide it by the number of transactions, that number of chargeback transactions, to get the average amount per chargeback. The third variable is the count of the transactions, the number of chargebacks that happened on a day. The fourth variable, which is daily chargeback ratio, is the percentage of daily chargeback amount compared with the daily gross sales amount. So what percentage of the daily gross sales result in chargeback? The idea is that if there is a higher percentage here for certain merchants, that may be an indicator for fraud. Similarly, we can have data aggregated over different time periods. For example, 180-day chargeback ratio calculates the same thing as the daily chargeback ratio except over a 6-month period. 30-day chargeback amount does the same thing as the daily chargeback amount, except it does it for a 30-day period. Similarly, we have 7 days, we have 90 days, and we have 12 months as well. You can see all the different transformations for a single variable. In financial services and in many other domains, it often makes sense to have variables that summarize information over different time periods, similar to what we are seeing here. It is very important as an analyst to understand all of these variables and the information that is captured in these in order to make the best use of them. There are a lot of other interesting variables which can help us identify fraud. Analyzing round number transactions can prove useful for reviewing retail business transactions. Fraud transactions often have round number values, example $250 or $120. Just think about it. If anyone is going to make a fraudulent transaction, they are usually thinking in terms of round numbers. 5,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees, $200, $1,000. So a lot of fraud transactions tend to have round number values. So it's always a good idea to review the number of round number transactions that you're seeing in a day. In real life, transactions seldom come to an even dollar amount because most businesses price their products just below the next whole dollar amount. So in the US, it's common practice to have items priced at $2.99 or $3.99, and then you add tax on top, and you will almost never end up with a round number transaction. Fraudulent transactions, on the other hand, often tend to be round number transactions. Most spreadsheets and database programs can process a formula to quickly highlight transactions with round dollar amounts, and you can always use this variable as an indicator for fraud. Even dollar amounts are amounts that end with 2 zeros before the decimal and have 2 zeros after the decimal. Example, $2300.00. That's a even dollar amount. There are 2 zeros before the decimal and 2 zeros after it. Similar to round number transactions, even dollar amounts can also help us identify fraud. Consumer disputed chargebacks refer to transactions which have been disputed by the consumer. These transactions can sometimes be fraudulent transactions, therefore it's a good idea to have this kind of variable in your database. Declined authorization amount. These declines indicate a lack of cardholder credit limit availability at the time of authorization request, which means that these transactions were made when there wasn't sufficient line of credit on the credit card. That is often again a sign of fraudulent transactions. Fraudsters often don't know when they've reached the limit of the credit card, so they will often keep trying till they get a declined authorization. So declined authorization amounts can often be an indicator of fraudulent transactions. Foreign card amount refers to the sale from transactions conducted in a foreign country. Foreign card transactions are more likely to be fraudulent transactions, especially certain countries. This is because credit card companies have analyzed their data and they found that foreign card transactions, especially when they happen in certain specific countries, have a high likelihood of being fraudulent. So foreign card amount is often a good indicator for predicting fraud. Government card amount refers to purchases on government cards. This is additional information that is available in the database. Sometimes if fraud is associated specifically with government cards, this may be an indicator that can come in useful. Fraud chargeback amount relates to chargebacks that have reason codes related to fraud, which means that these are chargebacks which pertain to fraud, which means most likely these are fraudulent transactions. So this kind of an indicator is often very useful. Risk scores are generated to assess the risk profile of each merchant. These scores are often used for fraud detection as well. So risk scores are basically scores that are generated for each merchant and predict the likelihood of the merchant being low risk, medium risk or high risk. So these risk scores can often also be used for fraud detection. So this is an example of some interesting variables in the financial services sector that you will often see coming in significant, especially when it relates to fraud detection.